President John Mahama has formally directed Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo to submit an initial response within 10 days to 3 petitions seeking her removal from office. The directive, issued in a letter signed by Callistus Mahama, Secretary to the President, comes after 3 individuals lodged petitions on February 14 and March 17, 2025, accusing the Chief Justice of misconduct and abuse of power. The letter states that on March 24, 2025, the President, Mahama, had written to the Chairman of the Council of State, Do Ajaho, seeking advice on the petitions in line with Article 1466 of the Constitution. Following the Council of State's approval on March 27, 2025, the petitions were forwarded to the Chief Justice for her response. Let's bring you details of that particular letter from the presidency. And it says that His Excellency has received 3 petitions from 3 individuals requesting your removal as Chief Justice. 2 are dated 14th February 2025 and the 3rd is dated 17th February. Copies of the 3 petitions are attached. It goes ahead to say that following receipt of these petitions on 24th March 2025, His Excellency wrote to the Chairman of the Council of State forwarding the petitions and informing Council that in accordance with the consultation process required under Article 1466, he intends, as an initial step, to send the petitions to you for your preliminary comment or response. Now, on 27th March 2025, His Excellency received responses from the Chairman of the Council of State consenting to this request. Copies of these letters are also attached. Upon receipt of the petitions, His Excellency was advised that per Frank J. Chum versus Attorney General and Bright Aquata 205-206 JC. Now, the confidentiality attached to proceedings under Article 146 also extends to document and other relevant material employed in the proceedings. Now,
well, it goes on to say, therefore, we are constrained to mark each page of the attachments to this letter, quote, restricted. Finally, His Excellency wishes to assure you that due process will be followed in handling this matter and that you will be given a full and fair opportunity to be heard.
Well, the government has been defending the publication of the President's referral to the petition seeking the removal of the Chief Justice to the Council of State, insisting details of the petitions were not made public. Hence, the President's displeasure over the CJ's leakage of a letter to the public, even before it reaches his office. Here is Felix Kwachofosu, Minister of State at the Presidency in charge of communication.
Process guiding the review of the petitions brought against the CJ and what needs to be done going forward are to be done in a manner that respects confidentiality. It is the reason why when the President received the petition and he forwarded him to the Council of State for consultation, he didn't publish the petitions. We only announced that such a thing has taken place. So it was to be expected that in communicating with the President to request for copies of the petition, the same level of confidentiality would be respected. In any event, when the President wrote to the Council of State on the 24th of March 2025, he not only forwarded the petitions to them, he notified them of his intent as part of the steps towards addressing this matter to forward the same petition to the Chief Justice for her preliminary remarks. Indeed, the Council of State responded to the President's letter on 27th March 2025. And today, the President has written to the Chief Justice, forwarding the petitions to her. And therefore, it is surprising that a matter that is clearly spelled out in law in terms of its handling should find its way into the media in the manner that it did, coming from the Chief Justice. That is what surprised the President a bit, and that is why he expressed that reservation.
All right, so that's the Minister of State in charge of government's communication there. Now let's get on to the phone lines now. I speak to political scientist at the University of Ghana, Professor Aludi Seidu. Grateful to you, sir, for your time. Now, what do you make of what is going on? The presidency released a statement that they have forwarded such petitions to the Council of State. The Chief Justice then wrote to the presidency that I need to be furnished with these documents so that I could also give you my response. The presidency writes back to the CJ now saying that the president is displeased with what she did by her letter leaking to the media even before it gets to the presidency. Your remarks.
Okay, thank you so much, and good evening to your viewers. I think what is happening now is a serious test of our democratic maturity. And in a democratic governance processes, you tend to see some of these things happening. And the constitution that we are working with, the 1992 constitution, envisages that there will be a time that people may not be happy with the functions of duty bearers, be it the president, be it the Speaker of Parliament, the Chief Justice, or whosoever that the Constitution has given the power to be appointed. And when this happens, there are laid down constitutional processes or procedure through which this will be addressed. And I've seen so far that the procedure has been adhered to in the manner that is supposed to be done. I think with the reservations that the President expressed, I think this has to be done in a very confidential manner, protecting the identity of the petitioners, maybe up to the time that it is deemed okay to disclose it. So I believe that if these very confidential communications are leaked to the media or are leaked in social media before it goes to the intended person, there's bound to be that element of mistrust going on. People will not be happy. So I do believe that it is not always the case that these three organs of government may have people that like each other or that will work in a manner. Let me take it again. I think these three organs of government should be independent, theoretically. But that doesn't mean that their working relationship should not be synergistic.
Okay.
And I believe that you don't have to love somebody who is ahead of one of these institutions to be able to work with him. But it has to be done in a manner that takes cognizance of the constitutional provisions of the functions of each of these heads of the three organs of government. And they should work in a manner that deepens our democracy. Okay. One good thing about what's going on is that even if the petition succeeds in removing the Chief Justice, there will be a lot of precedent that will be set moving forward into our constitution. Our democratic development. There have also been a lot of raised files and injunctions pertaining to this. Whether it succeeds to block or not, it is going to enhance in the interpretation of the constitution moving forward, and people will be able to refer to some of these cases that have come and some of the petitions that have been made to be able to deepen our democracy going forward.
Okay.
So I believe that the procedure must be followed.
Okay.
Fair hearing must be made, and then we should desist from doing this in the media space.
But people have argued that the tendency to try and remove heads of state institutions, especially that of the Electoral Commission and now the Chief Justice, will create room for every government change or every change in government to come with a change in leadership for the judiciary and also the Electoral Commission. What must we do to prevent that?
Because these people are appointed and they serve the citizens, there should not be a provision that says that you should not be removed. So how about in cases where they breach the constitutional provision that entrusted them to work or to perform their function?
Okay.
So when that happens, then there should be a procedure by which they can be removed. Even the president can be removed. The president can be impeached. And there's a procedure for it. So nobody should be immune from accountability. But where there is a need for that to be done, the law must be applied. The appropriate procedure must be used. And we also learn from experiences. So if we begin to realize that this is what is happening, where every government that comes will have to remove the head of these state institutions that perform their work diligently, there should be a provision in the amendment. We are doing a constitutional review process. There should be maybe an entrenched position. They should deepen the procedure by which these people can be removed so that no government can just come and decide that, 2 or 3 petitions, then they should be removed. But what I also want these people to know is that once you are appointed into government, regardless of the government that appoints you, you should be seen to be performing your functions in a manner that is diligent and that is not biased. Once you are appointed and then your functions, the way you discharge your duties shows that you are clearly biased or you are not serving the national interest, definitely those kind of agitations will come in. So in as much as we want to prevent elected government from removing constitutionally mandated government institutions ahead, we should also behold on the people who are appointed to discharge their duties in a manner that is devoid of partisan biases and be able to accept the collective interest of the country.
I'm grateful to you, Professor Ali Seidu there.
Well, let's shift our attention now to the embattled former Director General of the National Signal Bureau, Kwabena Edubwahim. He tells JoyNews in an exclusive interview that he is innocent of all the corruption allegation being levied against him and his wife and will come out a free man at the end of the trial. Well, an Accra High Court on Friday watered down the bail conditions of Mr. Edubwahim from 120 million Ghana cedis to 80 million Ghana cedis with two sureties, one of whom is yet to be justified. Well, his wife, who is a second applicant in the case, still has her initial bail condition remain at 80 million Ghana cedis with an amendment of two sureties. Legal Affairs correspondent Idris Latif sat through the proceeding and comes through with this report.
When the case was called initially, Justice Fremsai, who is the Deputy Attorney General and also represented the second respondent in this particular case, wasn't present. So the case was stood down and then recalled. Atachia made the argument that the bail conditions imposed on his clients were burdensome and onerous. According to the lawyer for the suspect, lawyer Atachia, he told me that he is confident that his client will not spend another night in the custody of you.
It's telling you that justice is with the court, not the people who have incarcerated you, because you will know that if your liberty is at the sufferance of those who have captured you, you can never go home. But now the custody of their peace is with the court, and this is what we call the court bail. It is over executed because what they have with them is more than what the judge has ordered. Unless there's bad faith, I don't see why they shouldn't go home today. Yeah.
Now, when he walked out of the courtroom, I approached Kwabena Edubwahim and I asked him if indeed he is confident he is going to come out of this case as an innocent man. Listen to what he had to say.
Any initial comment? Mr. Boy, any initial comment? What do you say about all the charges and the publicity?
Oh, I have not been charged of anything yet. None whatsoever.
So what do you say? You believe you come out from this as an innocent man?
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
He was whisked away by Iyoko.
Now, away from that, Energy Minister John Jinapong has vowed to chase down individuals and companies involved in the ECG's 1,300 missing container syndicate. 14 individuals, including 4 Ghanaians and 10 Chinese, have been arrested in connection with the syndicate from 3 separate companies, with 2 located in the Shai, Osudoku, and Bong, areas. There is more in this report.
Following the arrest of 10 Chinese nationals and 4 Ghanaians in connection with the theft of 1,300 missing ECG containers, Minister of Energy John Jinapong visited 3 factories identified by national security. These companies are located in Shai Hills and Bong.
We had understanding that it was all cables, but in the course of investigation, we have discovered meters. That some of the containers actually contain meters. As to whether some of the meters have been taken or not is another matter.
The team identified a common factor between the 2 companies at Shai Hills. Both use an electrolytic method that consumes substantial amounts of electricity to melt cables into various products. At Ponlock Manufacturing Company Limited, one of the 2 companies involved, the team found out that their warehouse, which typically store ECG cables, was full to capacity. As a result, they have put up a makeshift storage area for additional cables, cleverly disguised with car rims to hide their true contents.
They have a warehouse that when they buy, they stack all the cables there. But it was full, so they had to devise another way of concealing it. So all the car rims you are seeing there, it's not rims. It's actually cables. They have packed the cables there and covered it up with the rims.
Speaking to the Media and Energy Minister, John Jinapor vowed to crack down on the perpetrators of the syndicate.
And wherever the containers are, we'll trace them. And those we've apprehended will not just prosecute them, we'll go to court and seek an order to sell those assets there to defray the cost, so that we'll use that money to invest in the grid system and to make power delivery available and reliable. And I'm writing to the Attorney General, whoever superintended over this mess will be held liable.
The team with the national security visited additional 2 sites in Ashaima, where the national security suspects some of the companies are located. About 34 more containers with cables and meters were also found at Atlas Dry Port Terminal. Collins Frimpont's report read to you.
Now, still on this development, Energy Minister John Jinapor has reviewed shocking procurement breaches at the ECG. The minister discloses that the company exceeded its approved budget by billions of Ghana cedis in 2023 and 2024. Speaking during a media tour of companies linked to ECG's missing containers, John Jinapor noted that ECG's procurement in 2014 surged from a planned 1.397 billion Ghana cedis to 8.2 billion cedis. A similar trend occurred in 2023 and 2024 when ECG planned for under 1 billion in procurement, but ultimately spent 8.3 billion cedis, exceeding the budget by more than 7.3 billion Ghana cedis.
It's because if you look at the records, and I have the report here, in 2014, ECG's planned procurement was 1.397 billion. By the end of the year, they procured 8.2 billion. And so they engaged in frivolous over expenditure, procured items that they did not have money to clear, and that is what has brought us this far. The same with 2023. Their planned procurement was less than 1 billion. They ended up procuring 8.3 billion. That is more than 7.3 billion over and above what was approved for them. So if you look at the records, in 2022, they procured 1.3 billion. In 2023, they procured 8.3 billion. In 2024, they procured 8.2 billion. Way above what was approved for them, more than 700%. And so let me make it clear, those who think that they can engage in political football, those who think they can use this to try and equalize, it will not work. Since 2019, this crime is being perpetrated on the state. The then government slept on it. This government will not allow this to continue. And as minister, I would ensure that we curtail this, we follow and apprehend those responsible, and retrieve the containers. In simple terms, I want my containers. Simple as that.
Well, let's take you now to Parliament, where the Minority Leader Alexander Fenyomakin has told the House that he has reliable evidence that some officials of the Electricity Company of Ghana have been colluding with custom officials to sell containers belonging to the company upon their arrival at the port. Now, more than 1,000 containers containing electrical materials belonging to the ECG have been declared missing from the port, with state security on a manhunt for the alleged culprits. Now, a number of Chinese nationals have already been arrested in connection with this scandal. Speaking on the floor of the House, the Minority Leader, who is the immediate passport chairman of ECG, has been urging the new government not to politicize the issue.
How come containers at the ports, containers that have arrived, the bureaucracy at our ports, they say the containers are missing. Mr. Speaker, it is true that when these containers come, there is some connivance with some customs officials, and they sell these containers, these cables that ECG needs. after the supplier has been paid, they sell the container and then people resell back to ECG. Are we pretending we don't know? Instead of us to pay attention and kill the rots, then we come here, then MPP, NDC, so now they say, oh, maybe it's happening under MPP, it's happening under NDC. No. An honorable minister, I know what you can do. If we can give you support to do it, you must adopt a posture, a non-partisan posture, and tackle the rots.
Our Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwacho-Fosu, explained that contrary to claims that these containers got missing under the current government, it was actually under the actual government.
There are notorious facts on this case that are already public information. The incident under reference, or the whole matter, occurred during the reign of the MPP when they were in government. Since this matter became public, there has been an effort to distort the information and make it appear like a novel development. That's something that has just happened. I am Minister for Government Communication. I am in regular touch with the Minister for Energy. And therefore, I am fully aware of the facts. Mr. Speaker, I have the report before me. Mr. Speaker, I have the report before me. And we will tender it in evidence.
Well, let's still stay in Parliament because the Office of the Special Prosecutor has come under fierce criticism from some members of Parliament over claims the office has failed to live up to its responsibility and nearly 8 good years of its establishment. Now, speaking during the consideration of budget estimate for the office, MP for Efia, Isaac Boama Nyako, wondered what exactly it is that the OSP has to show after hundreds of millions of cedis allocated to that office over the years.
The OSP is having a total staff of less than 250. Only 250 staff. And yet its compensation is 71.8 million cedis. What is that? We are crying, we are cutting down certain ministries and agencies. And yet the OSP is giving compensation for less than 249 staff to the tune of 71 million. Capex of 54 million. We reviewed that of legal aid. Just 1.5 million and 5 million has been made available. And the previous year, the OSP was given a total of 32 million in compensation in goods and services and 47 million in capex. So with all these resources that is going to the OSP, what is the OSP giving to Ghana in return? If he works over a year and is unable to check his IGF, that thing completely zero, and he's supposed to return 30% of his recoveries. So if he's not recovering, how are we assessing the performance of the special prosecutor? For which reason the Attorney General is backing the OSP to be given over 140 million Ghana cedis.
MP for Mensah South, Bafo Ejewa, also argued that the OSP has failed to secure even a single conviction and instead moving away from its role and chasing responsibilities that are for the Auditor General.
It has been 8 years since its establishment, almost. There hasn't been one single conviction by that office. Mr. Speaker, by its own documents that it brought to the committee, Mr. Speaker, the agency now has only three criminal cases pending. 3 after 8 years. Mr. Speaker, 3. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the cases that it is involved, Mr. Speaker, then you realize that there seems to be some aberration in its focus.
Well, it will interest you to know that Parliament approved the budget for the office of the OSP, despite raising concerns. Away from that, Ghana must lead the push for democracy in the Sahel, says MP Samuel Jinapo. He insists Ghana cannot compromise its democracy values while engaging with Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. Speaking in Parliament, he urged the government to champion constitutional rule in the region. Jinapo backed the Foreign Affairs Ministry budget, calling for stronger diplomatic efforts to restore democracy.
I just want to make the point that in all our engagement with the Sahel, be it Burkina Faso, Mali or Niger, Mr. Speaker, it is absolutely important that we are reminded that Ghana is built on democratic principles. And Ghana is a country that upholds the tenets of rule of law, the principles of democracy. Ghana is a democratic country. So in everything we do to ensure sub-regional or regional integration, we cannot jettison this fundamental foundation of the Ghanaian polity or Ghanaian society. And by that, Mr. Speaker, let me refer the House to Article 40 of our national constitution, specifically Chapter 6, the Directive Principles of State. Article 40 DIV, Mr. Speaker, states that in the dealings with other nations, the government shall, and I quote, the government shall promote and protect the interests of Ghana, and it goes on to say, adhere to the principles enshrined in, or as the case may be, the aims and ideals of, quote, the Treaty of the Economic Community of West African States, and it goes on and on.
This is still JoyNews Prime. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. This is JoyNews Prime.
Let's do some other stories now. Traders at Agbogbloshie Market have expressed their excitement over the cancellation of the E-levy, describing it as a huge relief. They saw the tax which was introduced in 2022 and what it did to them. They said it placed significant burden on their businesses. With its removal, they are optimistic that financial transactions will now be smoother and more convenient.
Parliament on the 26th of March passed the bill to repeal the E-levy, betting tax and emission levy. These are key taxes introduced under the Akufo-Addo-led administration. The E-levy in particular faced strong opposition from stakeholders. Some Ghanaians even stopped using electronic transactions completely just to avoid paying E-levy. Now the tax has been removed. What does this mean to traders and everyday business owners? We're here at Agbogbloshie, one of Accra's largest markets, to interact with traders on what this development means to them.
We don't see the impact of the E-levy even. We don't see the impact. It's as if the government or the people in power has rather like eating all the money rather. Because if the economy is already crashed and you said the E-levy is going to boost the economy, and after the E-levy, you still went to IMF to take a loan, then what's the essence of like the E-levy? What's the essence? E-levy is one of the reasons why we voted massively against the NPP government. And we are happy he's on the right track now.
Mobile phone
It's good that E-levy has been removed. When someone sends you money and you withdraw it, the charges are very high. So we are grateful to government for removing this tax.
So you stopped using mobile money because of...
I stopped using mobile money because of the E-levy. When I need to send money home, I usually give it to a friend traveling there to send it for me. But now, I'll start using mobile money again.
You heard that from some business owners who have been sharing how E-levy affected their businesses. They're excited the Parliament has passed the bill to repeal the E-levy. From Agbogbloshie Market here in Accra, my name is Esther A.C. Nkrumah.
3 months after fire reduced Kantamanto Market to ashes, traders who lost everything have received just 125 cedis each, despite nearly 3 million cedis in donations. Frustrated and demanding answers, they insist the amount is nowhere near enough to rebuild. Sarah Mingsa has been to the market and has come through with this report.
Lost 1.6 billion.
It's been 3 months since fire engulfed the Kantamanto Market, one of Ghana's leading markets in Accra. JoyNews was here last month to interact with some of the market women about how they are coping. So they told us they haven't received any money from the leaders, although there have been a lot of donations to them. Mama Keke lost everything in the fire. Her entire stock, worth 160,000 Ghana cedis, reduced to ashes. Mama Keke says she received just 125 Ghana cedis as a share of the relief fund.
125 cedis. If you want me to say it in the old money, 1,250,000. 1 million old money, 250. That is each person. That is the money they gave us. That the donation and everything we get. 125 cedis so that we could use it to start work.
So what happens to the rest of the donations? Have you asked them?
We don't know. We don't know anything. They don't talk to us. They don't tell us anything. The only time I learned they tried to confront and talk to him was the day I was not around. But there are people here.
Madam Equia received the same amount. She describes it as woefully inadequate.
Sikenya 100 Ghana and 20 cedis and 5 cedis, which is 1.2. 1.2 and penny sikaya.
Unlike them, Dora says she was completely left out. She received nothing.
We being by the roadside, they have not given us anything.
In total, 2.88 million was received in cash donations. Only 1 million Ghana cedis donated by the president, John Dramani Mahama, was disbursed among affected traders. That suggests about 8,000 traders received the relief. But the critical question remains, what happened to the rest of the money? Market manager Mr. Duchum, a member of the committee that oversaw the disbursement, has yet to account for the remaining funds.
We gave them 25 Ghana cedis like they told you. And the 25 Ghana cedis was a donation that was given to us by the president. He gave us 1 million Ghana cedis. There was instruction attached to the money. He was saying that the money should be given to them, if you like, in account partners, they should go and buy cocoa for that.
So where are you now? Can you tell me where you are?
We are done with the walling. We are now constructing the gate around the market. About, is it 34, whatever gates we are going. That one is costing about 1.8 billion. You understand? So after we are done, we are giving ourselves up to the end of this one, by which time we think that we might have covered a lot of the work. Then we'll call a meeting and tell them, this is how we have gotten to, this is how much is left, this is how much we have spent. Then we see the way forward.
Beyond the cash relief, traders were also promised a new market. But how much of the fund has been set aside for rebuilding? And how much is left? These are the questions traders are asking. And until clear answers are given, the fire that destroyed their shirts and wares will continue to burn in their hearts. Sarah Mensah's report for Joy News, Kantamanto, Accra.
Well, we'll keep monitoring what is happening in that particular market and update you with every relevant update that we do get. Now, away from that, the Ghana Journalists Association has urged Muslims and other religious faiths to use the Ramadan season to promote peace and unity in Ghana. As part of effort to support the Muslim community, the GJA, led by its president, Albert Kwabena Jomfo, donated more than 50 bags of rice and other essential items to the Alajo Central Mosque in Accra. The initiative aims to assist underprivileged families in observing the holy month. Elsie Asiedu Akisiedu witnessed these events and has filed this report.
The Ramadan season is a sacred period of fasting and deep spirituality for Muslims, culminating in a joyous feast. Ahead of this year's Ramadan, the Ghana Journalists Association (GJA) has called for interfaith unity, encouraging peaceful coexistence and mutual respect among people of different religious backgrounds. The GJA, led by its president Albert Jomfo, emphasized the importance of fostering harmony and understanding during this holy period.
What we need to know is that religion is about the worship of God, believing in God. And whether you are a Christian or you are a Muslim, we are all worshiping one God. You understand? We are all one. In Ghana, I believe that the Christian community and the Muslim community has shown us that oneness is key.
The GJA donated more than 50 bags of rice and other essentials to the Alajo Central Mosque, a token to support the needy.
I know there are a lot of people, a lot of, should I say, vulnerable in Alajo society. Some people cannot even afford 3 square miles. I am aware because I grew up here. There are old people who can't even come to the mosque anymore to worship. So I came to donate some items so that at least as they prepare or as they end their Ramadan and gear towards Salah, which is the Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Fitr, whatever that it is, they will at least appreciate the little donation we have done.
In addition to the donation at Alajo, the GJA president assured residents that similar donations would be made at different mosques within the community in the coming days to ensure that more underprivileged families receive support they need during Ramadan.
So we came, like I said, to donate in all to the Alajo Muslim, that is the mosque. There are 3 mosques, 100 bags of rice. So we gave 60 here. We are doing 2020 the other mosques.
As Ramadan continues, many here in Alajo hope that more organizations and individuals will follow this example to support the vulnerable in society. Elsie Asiedua Kisiedu's report, read to you.
She fought through the agony of breast cancer 2 years ago, hoping for a fresh start. But just as life seemed normal again, another cruel battle began. 30-year-old midwife Yaram Ibrahim Mariam is now fighting for her life against brain cancer. She needs 300,000 cedis for a life-saving treatment. Irama Akwa visited her at home and filed this report.
Spent her life caring for others, bringing life into the world. But today, Mariama Yaram Ibrahim, a midwife, fights for her own survival.
I was actually at work when it came, and at our place too, we don't have network, so you have to go to a network area to check. So I was actually anxious whilst I was even trying to download it. When it came, when I was able to download and I saw it, I was like, really? I was like, oh, am I the one confused? Because that was not what I was expecting.
That was 2 years ago. A breast cancer diagnosis that would lead her through a maze of chemotherapy, surgery, and endless pain. But just when she thought the worst was behind her,
if I can't raise my arm too, he was thinking it was a nerve-related problem. But because I can't raise the arm on the same side, then it will be brain-related. So I should rather do a head CT scan. So and I told him that this is what has happened, but actually I was supposed to come and do a radiotherapy for the breast. And he said, oh, okay. So what is happening now is that it has spread to my brain. That was when I started crying.
The chemotherapy was brutal. It stole her hair, her strength, her independence. The nausea, the excruciating pain, the darkened nails. She endured it all. But the hardest part was not the physical suffering.
For the breast cancer treatment, we went through a lot. But because it was every 3 weeks, at least by the time the month will end, your salary will come, your family will also support you in a way. Finances at this point, I don't know what to say. Because right now, with this treatment, that's the only problem we have.
£20,000. That's what stands between Mariama and a fighting chance.
My sister is somebody who likes helping others, and she wants to go back to her work. At times when we go to the hospital and she see others wearing the uniform, she will just call me, sister. Hey, so I was also like this. I want to come back and save life.
I'm bloated. I had sores on my body that I have to treat. A lot of things were just coming in. My vision too is disturbed. I forget things easily.
Or you can donate to help save Mariama's life. You can send your donation to the numbers on the screen. Quite a touching story. And personally, I would be donating as well. You can also walk to Joy FM and drop your donation at the front desk. Well, let's head now to the Upper West region, where the Sankana caves is actually one that has served as refuge for indigents, especially during the 18th century, when notorious slave raiders in Samuri and Babutu thrived. Well, the two caves were used as hideouts, buying time for the people of Sankana to develop a winning strategy against the slave raiders. One unique feature of the cave is that they have no fixed capacity. They naturally expand to accommodate everyone, regardless of the number of people seeking shelter. As part of our Ghana Man series today, JoyNews' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam visited the cave and filed this report.
3 caves in Sankana, Bulingi, and Dahele in the Upper West region served as refuge for indigents fleeing from the torment, torture, and capture of slave raiders during the 18th century. We met a retired educationist and paramount chief of the Sankana traditional area, Na Pagaraninga Sakwe Mona III. He first briefed us on the story behind the caves before leading us to the smaller of the 2 caves in his area.
Here, Sankana was located to be a place where, when the people come, those who are aged have to be placed somewhere, and aged and the disabled, and then women, children. So we had some caves say that when they come, all such persons were put in there.
The cave has an elastic capacity and could accommodate over 1,000 people, though from our looks, it can accommodate a little over 100 people.
And the funny thing we know about the caves was that, as you will see it, you would think it's a small hole, but as they get in, the whole expands to contain the number of people. Even if you are around 1,000, it was believed that you could all enter.
Renowned tour guide Aziz Belpo, throwing further light on the Sankana caves, revealed that embedded in the story of the ancient Akode caves is one of resistance and resilience.
The slaves we know were not captured from the coastal areas. They were taken from other places around here, marched all the way to slave markets around Salaga. Selections were done there, and then they were taken to the coastal areas where they exited the country. Now we want to tell the story of how and where they were captured.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam, Sankana.